And hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday, September 14th. Peter Greenberg here with our global travel update coming to you from our nation's capital in the CBS News Bureau here in Washington, D.C. If you've got some questions for me or comments, you know what to do. Send them in. But we got lots of stuff to do. Why am I in Washington, D.C.? I'll show you a quick poster. Let's run that now. It's coming up. There it is. I was here yesterday co-hosting the CBS News Town Hall on the current state of air travel 2022 with Major Garrett, our chief Washington correspondent. We had a number of interesting participants at the summit, ranging from the head of the TSA, Admiral David Pekoski, to the CEO of JetBlue, Robin Hayes, the head of the Pilots Union, the head of the Flight Attendants Union, the CEO of the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, Karen Sodman Becker, the CEO of Clear. We also had Charlie Leoka from Travelers United, the consumer advocacy group, a big crowd. We went for about 3 hours yesterday. That will all become part of our podcast, Eye on Travel. This Saturday, the actual radio show will run. You know how to find it. If you can't find it in your local market, we stream it live starting around 10:05 in the morning Eastern time on Saturday, Eye on Travel. It then becomes a podcast later next week. So hope you get a chance to join and see what we did and hear what we did with all these major stakeholders. Lots of things to talk about what we did at the summit yesterday. But first, let's get to the news today. As I predicted last week, the airfare sales are starting again as we get into the fourth quarter. Southwest back with those fares starting at $59. JetBlue with some last-minute flash sales as low as $39. And remember, these are flash sales. They're only good for maybe 2 or 3 days to book, but they're good for booking through the rest of the year. And in many cases, even into next February. So understand you'll be waiting for them and jump on them when you see them. And you're going to see a lot more of them from American, Delta, and United as the weeks go on, as those future bookings don't materialize the way they did during the summer. One of the things to note, of course, is that hotel rates are still remaining high. And in certain parts of the world, really high. Gee, what a surprise. Good luck getting a hotel room in London right now. Of course, because of all the events surrounding the Queen's funeral coming up on Monday, on the 19th. Hotel rooms, if you can find one, which you can't, the rates are over 300% higher than they were a week ago. And airfares are through the roof. As we're speaking now, Heathrow has suspended flights for about an hour and a half during the Queen's procession from Buckingham Palace over to Westminster Hall. The irony is, so what's new at Heathrow? They do that all the time. It's a nightmare anyway. But in any case, they're doing that to honor the Queen. What's particularly interesting here, and to put this in some historical perspective, when the Queen was alive, she was a brand. She was a major travel brand. She was responsible for an amazing amount of revenue to the British government and to the British economy from travel and tourism because of the royal family and because of all the interest in the royal family. Over 1 million people expected to descend upon London between now and Monday. One of the reasons why you can't find a hotel room. What's particularly interesting is, since so many of you make your reservations online, hotels have basically stopped their online booking systems because they want to basically handle reservations on a one-on-one level, not because they want to be consumer friendly, but because they can adjust their rates upward in a much more elastic way than they could if it was already published on the internet as a group of blocked rooms. So if you're going to find a room, you're not going to find one online. And if you find one on the phone, you'll be paying for it. But a big event, a big series of events between now and Monday as the Queen lies in state. And I'll actually be going over to London next week, but I've intentionally decided to do it on the 20th because I'm not crazy. But in any case, I'm sure you'll all be watching. An amazing story about the Queen, another travel-related story. She was one of the most, if not the most traveled monarch in her 70-plus years of reign. And if you just did a 1-hour special on where she traveled and how she traveled, guess what? It would not be a 1-hour special. It would be a 3-part 1-hour series. This is a woman who went just about everywhere on every mode of transportation imaginable, from the earliest propeller planes to the first jets, the latest jets. Of course, let's not forget the royal ship Britannia, and all other modes of travel in between. Now, let's talk about what we talked about yesterday at the summit. The reason for the summit, the reason for the town hall, was an opportunity to look back on where we were for the last 2.5 years, what lessons were learned, more importantly, what lessons were applied, and where we go from here. Interesting stories about pilot shortages or not. Robin Hayes, the CEO of JetBlue, claiming they don't have a pilot shortage. They have 16% more pilots flying 11% less capacity. Well, that's good news for JetBlue customers. American Airlines, maybe not the case. They're head of their pilot union claiming that American continues to publish a flight schedule that they cannot physically support with the number of people they have working there. American Airlines, by the way, was invited to the summit. They were not able to be there, but this came from the head of their pilots union, who gave some pretty amazing statistics about what's going on there, plus two issues that both the pilots and the flight attendants raised, as we have staff shortages that we know about, and that's crew rest and fatigue. No one is claiming that any pilot or flight attendant is working beyond their legal maximum number of hours. However, the issue is being raised that why they may be flying a legal amount of time. Is it a safe amount of time? The issue of crew fatigue is now coming into play. The TSA, with some good news, that they're processing more people, but they're moving the lines faster, and they are, because they're actually now starting to use biometrics, something that, by the way, the folks at Clear have been using for quite some time with great success. And going beyond that, what the folks at Clear have been doing is to make sure that you never have to take out your wallet or present a piece of paper from the time you leave home until the time you return, simply because the biometric record that they have of you is more than just reading your eyes and confirming that you're on the flight. It's all of your government ID. It's all of your information as to where you're going. And they can communicate to you with their app as to exactly what the wait times might be, how long it's going to be to go from the security checkpoint to your gate, where your bags are, an entire array of information that's available to you now in real time that is going to make the airports and your airport experience much more efficient. One sort of disturbing thing that was reported, of course, that the assaults on flight attendants are continuing, and assaults on TSA agents way up. The TSA administrator talking about that. One other piece of disturbing news that came out of the summit, and one that we have to put in some perspective, the TSA has seized a record number of weapons this summer. It's about 4,500 guns and other weapons. But the most disturbing part of that discovery and that piece of information, the TSA administrator, Admiral Pekoski, reporting that of the weapons seized, 86% of them, think about this, 86% of them were loaded. Loaded. Now, what does that tell you? Well, intuitively, it tells me that we had a lot of first-time flyers this year who either didn't understand the rules, and they certainly didn't understand the risks. A very scary thought, but hats off to the TSA for seizing those weapons at the point that they did. Even a weapon that's loaded in a checked bag is dangerous for all the obvious reasons. So, something we have to watch out for as we move forward, because those numbers apparently are still going up. Other things to report, obviously, about what airports are doing to increase the passenger flow and make your wait times less. What passenger rights organizations like Travel United are doing to make sure that the DOT is listening. Every year, we brought this up yesterday, every year, well-meaning members of Congress introduce legislation about passenger rights or holding airlines or cruise lines or hotels accountable. And guess what? Every year, not a single piece of those legislations that have been introduced ever leave committee. They're not even brought up to the floor for a vote. So the only salvation for travelers may be the U.S. Department of Transportation rulemaking. And of course, the case in point, the tarmac delay rule. Those of you who remember that rule know why it was put in place in the first place. If an airplane pushes back and you're on that plane for more than 3 hours, you're being held prisoner, you can't get off the plane, you're stuck in the middle of the tarmac. The rule now says, and said when they put it into place, that if you don't return the passengers to the gate within 3 hours, you are liable to a fine of up to $27,500 per passenger. Yikes. Those are pretty severe financial consequences. It got everybody's attention. And while the airlines initially fought it and said it would never work, it was impossible for them to do it. How many tarmac delays exceeding 3 hours have there been since the rule went into place? I think less than 5. And 3 of them were not the airline's fault. So things are getting better. That's what we're dealing with now as the DOT considers new rulemaking in terms of passenger rights and rules about what airlines must do and must justify as well. So we're going to see what happens there as well. So if you want to hear the entire whole summit, the CBS News Town Hall moderated by Major Garrett, our Chief Washington correspondent, and myself, please tune into the show this Saturday starting at 10:05 Eastern. If you can't find it in your market, not a problem. Just go to our website, petergreenberg.com, and you'll be linked into the entire town. All right, let's go now to say hello to a lot of people. I'm going to scroll down here and see everybody here. All right, a lot of hellos from Tanzania. Okay, Macon saying hello. Terry Reed saying hi from New York. Okay, nice to see that you're back in New York, Terry. Say hi to Nick. Sue Hennepin saying hi from Curacao. All right. Marilyn is saying update on the requirements, mandates on cruising, please. Those mandates and requirements, Marilyn, are changing by the hour. This is what we know last week. Most of the major cruise lines have eliminated the need for a pre-departure test before you get on board. Many of them have actually eliminated the requirement to prove you're vaccinated. Some of them still have it. You're going to have to check with the cruise line directly because I'm not kidding when I tell you it's a very fluid situation and they're changing the rules almost every day. Okay, so please check with your travel agent or your cruise line directly on that. Okay, let's keep going here. Adrian saying hello from Huntington Beach, Surf City. Okay, hello from San Diego to Catherine. Uganda's weighing in. All right. Hello, Richard. Donna saying United is not coming down in price. Donna, they will. They will. We're just entering the fourth quarter now. I guarantee you those prices are going to come down. They don't have the passenger reservation numbers to support it. So be patient. It's going to happen. Okay. Hello from, where's that? Camarillo. Okay. Hello, Larry. Donna's saying she's in D.C. as well. Okay. In Maryland. Okay. Nice to talk to you, Donna. All right. Robert, my favorite concierge, Robert Watson, says come down and see us from the Willard. You're not far from me, Robert. I had Tom Wood. Of course, for those people who don't know the Willard, that was the hotel basically responsible for the word lobbyist because people would interested parties would stand in the lobby of the Willard or actually at the bar and would corner members of Congress and lobby them. The Willard, great historic hotel, still an Intercontinental. All right, Peter saying greetings from beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. Can somebody please tell me, if you're a Cougar fan, I'm sorry, but can somebody please tell me how Wisconsin, the Badgers, lost that game at home against the Cougars? Sorry. All right. Tanzania's weighing in. Anna saying, I was lucky to be in the Queen's presence in Wales at the opening of the tunnel. My goodness. 23 years ago. Amazing. Yep. I was lucky to spend some time with her as well when she named one of the Cunard ships a couple of years ago. Amazing woman. Amazing woman. And quite a symbol when you think about it. Nobody can beat her. She's the only queen I've ever known, right? She's the only, in terms of the United Kingdom, she's the only queen all of us have ever known. So this is we'll realize this more in the days, months ahead. It is the end of an era. Okay, here we go. We're looking here again. Jew is back in Japan. Hello, Jew. All right. Everybody's checking in here. Colleen, we leave for Strasbourg at the end of the week. All right, Colleen, have a great time. You'll have a great time. And you're a pescatarian. Well, there is fish in Strasbourg, right? You will not be left alone. Okay. All right. Donna says the problem is that travel agents will be liable as well. You're talking about passenger rights. Well, Donna, let me explain something so that I don't anger too many travel agents. Who are you? I have to ask this question. Who are you the travel agent of? Do you represent the travel provider, or do you represent the traveler? If you represent the travel provider, and let's face it, you're commissioned by them, then if there's a traveler's rights issue, guess what? You will be named, right? So the real responsibility here is with you and the travel provider to figure out who's going to take the heat if somebody screws up. Now, I didn't say you were responsible for it, but if you are truly their agent, then that's the way it's going to have to be. Look, it's a very interesting conundrum because the online travel agents, right, the OTAs, claim when something goes wrong that they're not travel agents. They don't want any liability. But wait a second, didn't they handle the transaction? Didn't they represent the seller? So is it any different than a real estate broker who sells you a house and the house falls apart before you buy it? What happens? Who were you representing? The seller or the buyer? There's very interesting legal issues here that have not yet been fully resolved, but I will tell you initially, given our litigious nature as a country, when something goes wrong, you're part of the problem until you can become part of the solution. Okay. Joy saying going to Miami in February. When is the best time to purchase airfare? Well, now here's your problem about Miami in February. When is spring break? You have what? You have President's Day weekend. You better be very specific as to the days you want to go, and then we can figure out when you want to buy those tickets. All right. Any recommendations for safari tours? You haven't told me. Oh, planning to go in November this year, Kenya or Tanzania? Well, I'm partial to Tanzania. I know there are a lot of Kenyans out there who are going to be angry at me, but my experience in the last 10 years is that Tanzania represents to me the way Kenya used to be. Now, do I love Kenya? I do. I've actually spent more time in Kenya than I have in Tanzania, but I'm just giving you my initial response based on my experiences the last 10 years. Okay. Hello from Delaware. Okay. She goes, she wants to know, global entry, TSA pre-check are clear. She says mostly domestic travel, maybe once every 2 to 3 years international travel. Karen, I'm going to give you a one-stop shopping answer. All three. If you can get clear, get it. If you can get pre-check, get it. If you get global entry, you get pre-check with it. So it's not 3 things, it's really 2. Protect yourself and get it. Even if you're only traveling internationally 2 or 3 times every 5 years, who wants to get off a 15-hour flight to spend an hour and a half in line? Believe me, global entry is the best thing that's happened since sliced bread if you're an international traveler. And anybody who has global entry watching me right now knows exactly what I mean. Okay. All right. I'm looking here. Donna's saying the issue with cruises and vaccines is that you're going to different countries and they all have different regulations. That's right. That's why you have to check with your individual cruise lines directly, because one of the reasons why some of the cruise lines still require proof of vaccination is because the ports that they're going to are requiring that, or they won't let them land at those ports. Okay. April says, good morning from a milder Vegas. Okay. Robert says, hopefully using the new Terminal C on the 21st on Emirates in Dubai. Yep, new terminals in Dubai, a new terminal being built in time for the World Cup in Doha, as a matter of fact. And shortly, a new terminal just opened, guess where? Orlando. Now, we haven't had a new airport in this country in more than 27 years. That was Denver back in 1995, if you can believe that. Boy, am I feeling old, because I was there when they opened it. But we are seeing some airports getting their act together, Orlando being one, LaGuardia being another. And if you heard President Biden just 2 days ago, he's very upset with U.S. airports that were, he's ashamed of most U.S. airports, if you listen to what he talked about. And remember, it was Joe Biden just a number of years ago who called LaGuardia a third world airport, which at the time was actually an insult to a lot of really great third world airports. LaGuardia is getting better now. Although the people who designed LaGuardia, I'm sorry, I'm still convinced you've never flown. And I'll tell you why. First of all, have you done the walk from the counter to the gate? You're going to get your steps in. Number two, have you noticed the people movers are totally just ornamental? Why? Because they want you to not miss a single retail opportunity, right? Can't just like glide by. Number three, the carpeting they put at some of the terminals, not Delta, but the American and United terminals, is really abusive. Try dragging your wheel aboard or your rollerboard. You'll be dragging it, or it'll be dragging you. And if you have a mobility issue and you're in a wheelchair, the person pushing you is really going to get their exercise. It's not conducive to wheels. It's ridiculous. But anyway, and they'll tell you that they put the carpet in there to mitigate noise. Well, guess what? Since they put the carpet in there, the noise that you hear are people going, "I can't pull my bag." Okay. All right, let's keep going. Hello from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, outside Philly. Just went to Charleston, South Carolina for the first time last weekend. Great city. Charleston and Savannah are two of my favorite cities in that part of the country. And being a boat person, I can tell you one of the reasons why they're even more my favorite cities, I can sail there. Okay. Greetings from, I think, Denver. Hello from Portland. Hello. Mark Wexler is in Portland. Mark Wexler is a wonderful photographer. You saw one of the photographs we showed you that he shot in St. Martin with a crazy landing above him on that crazy runway. But when Mark Wexler says he's saying hello from anywhere in the world, you become convinced he's a member of the Witness Relocation Program, because we have no idea what he's doing there. So Mark, let us know what you're doing in Portland. I challenge you on that. Okay. Okay. Hi from the North Fork, going to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos in January. Best time of the year to go. You're going to have a great time. A great time. I do have one recommendation for you if you're going to Siem Reap. Of course, the location of Angkor Wat. Don't take a normal tour. Don't go during the normal daytime hours. Work it out with the concierge of your hotel and a guide to leave your hotel at the ungodly hour of 4 a.m. Bring spotlights or flashlights, really comfortable boots, right? Hiking boots. And then you'll be there at Angkor Wat for the dawn. And nobody else will be there. That's the moment you want. Okay? Now you want to know, Catherine wants to know, can you purchase flights from a U.S. city to a European city on the same day? I don't understand the question. Why couldn't you? Tell me what you're really asking, okay? Okay, Brighttone says hi from Tanzania. Mike Lucan says, I'm not liable for anything, damn it. I'll be the judge of that, Mike. Okay. Clifford saying hi from Glasgow. Heard from one member of a tour group ahead of us that she was going through security at Heathrow and was taken into a private room and searched. After she discovered that all of her cash was missing, what rights do we have when searched? And if something is missing after a search, who do we contact to complain? Wow. I'll need some more information on that. I'd like to know who was the person who took them into the search room. Search rooms usually have video cameras. There's got to be some video evidence. When she went into the search room, what happened to her carry-on bags, right? Were they left outside the room or were they brought into the room with her? Let me know more information, please. Okay, here we go. Jesus said he just saw my Royal Tour special on Poland on a lot flight to Warsaw. I'm glad you saw it. Hey, now it's time for our little throwback picture. I try to do it every week. So let's rack it up. And the question is, all right, yes, it's a much younger me. Where was I? On what ship? And where was this taken? All right. Where was I? When was this taken and what ship? Okay. Anybody guess? All right. It's a fun one. And I'm feeling really old because I know when it was taken. All right, let me go back to a few more things here. Uh, the mess at the airports continue. I told you about my flight to Zurich last week on Delta, where they literally the plane for an 8:30 flight was actually at JFK, was ready to go, cleaned, serviced at 2 p.m. in the afternoon for an 8:30 flight. That's what time the plane was ready. We still left an hour late with 3 separate gate changes in the middle. Why? It's the most stupid answer. Because Delta couldn't find anybody to tow the plane to the gate. So the staff shortages that we're seeing are not just in the cockpit, they're under the wing as well. And they're continuing. All right, anybody want to guess? No? Okay, I'll wait. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm going to go back and answer a few more questions while you guys try to guess. Where was this picture taken? When was this picture taken? And what ship was I on? Okay. Here we go. All right. People are now weighing in from New York and from Washington, D.C. Huntington Beach, we talked about already. Let me scroll back down here so I didn't miss anybody here. All right. Any questions you got? Okay. Okay, somebody's guessing. I'm going to scroll up here for a second. Don is saying Royal Caribbean 1980 in Maine. Incorrect on the year and the location and the ship. Other than that, it's a great guess. Sue is saying 1980 Princess. Wrong. Mike Lukens, you should be ashamed of yourself. It was not the Titanic, but I appreciate the humor. Okay. Colleen Casey saying 1995 New Zealand. Good guess. Wrong. Nancy saying 1984 the Hawaii Princess. Wrong. River cruise on the Rhine River. Wrong. Wow. Somebody's saying Santa Barbara 1987 on NCL. Wrong. I'm loving this. Nobody's even close. Okay. I'll let a few more guesses come in, then I'm going to tell you. Sue is saying 1975 Celebrity. Absolutely incorrect. I'll let 3 more guesses come in. Nobody's even close to getting it right. The question again is, where was this taken? When was this taken? And on what ship was I? All right. Anybody want to see if there's anybody else coming in here with a guess? I want to scroll back up so I didn't miss anybody. New England. Donna's guessing New England 1984. Wrong. Tim is saying the QE2 in 1985. No. Larry's saying a Cunard Queen ship. No. I'm going to give you guys a hint. The ship that's taken on is part of a cruise line that's no longer with us. Okay? And at the time, I'll give you one more hint. At the time, they only had 3 ships, but they were very well-known ships. Okay? Janine is saying St. Thomas Royal Caribbean 1986. Wrong. Mike is saying Santa Maria. Wrong. Okay. Mike also gets the Titanic too. So what are you going to do? All right. Mark Wexler still will not tell us what he's doing in Portland. So he no longer qualifies to answer any questions. All right. I'm looking again. I don't see any correct answers. So now I'm going to tell you. Well, first of all, I'll tell you the name of the ship. You ready? The Royal Viking Sky. Now, for those of you who remember cruise ships, there was the Royal Viking Sky, the Royal Viking Star, Royal Viking Sea. Later on, there was the Royal Viking Sun, and then there's no longer a Royal Viking line. But that was the name of the ship. Who wants to guess the year? Okay. Ready? 1984. And the location. All right, I'm giving up on you guys. It was Croatia. In those days, Yugoslavia. All right, There you have it. So there's that story. Now, since we're on photos here, let's go to photo of the week. Let's punch it up. We have it. There it is. Well, you know where it is. Beautiful sunset time on a private dock in Venice. And congratulations to the photo of the week winner. And Anthony, why don't you give credit where credit's due and tell us who took the shot. There it is, Michelle Steinhardt. She says, on our last night in Venice, we walked out onto a private dock, and that worked. And we love it. And if you've got questions, if you've got a photo that you think qualifies as the photo of the week, please send it in. You know the deal. And if we like it, we'll run it. Speaking of private docks, I'll give you one recommendation to get a photo just like this if you're ever in Venice. There's a small little hotel there called the Europa Regina. I first stayed there with my parents back when I was 12 years old. And they have the cutest dock and the smallest little bar on that dock. Just go out there and sit for a drink at around 4 in the afternoon, wait for the sun to go down, and snap away. All right. A few more housekeeping notes. Number one, the radio show this weekend is, of course, the CBS News Town Hall. The entire show is devoted to it, all 3 hours. I hope you got a chance to listen to it. If you've got any more questions in the meantime, you know the drill. Peter@petergreenberg.com. Just let us know. We will answer them. I'm going off to do more work today for CBS. There'll be an announcement today, by the way. I'm going out to it. United Airlines in a very interesting partnership. It'll be announced in about an hour and a half with an unlikely partner, Emirates. Now, are they merging? No. Are they doing a true partnership? No. But the next time I see you, I'll explain exactly what they're doing together. And it should be an interesting opportunity for those folks who are already frequent flyers on United who want to be able to use their miles on Emirates. Different route network and all sorts of great opportunities. So something to think about, and I hope you will. In the meantime, Tanzania, the Royal Tour, still on Amazon Prime and Apple TV Plus, as well as PBS. Check your local listings. You know about the radio show, Travel Detective Season 7, still on the air on PBS, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV Plus. Next week, I will see you at a different location at a different time and a place. You already know where it's going to be because I told you already earlier, I'll be in London, so I'll see you there. Until then, that's why we did the show a day earlier this week, so I can travel. Thanks for watching. Be safe, and I hope you get a chance to listen to the CBS Town Hall Summit. I think you might learn some very interesting things from these key stakeholders in the airline and travel industry. Again, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next week, probably at our usual time, so check it to see that it's going to be noon on next Thursday. All right, guys, see you soon.